So the state of California, really our whole country, has been having this dilemma. And it is rampant forest fires. So there's a solution to that, and I'm going to give it. I'll posit it here soon. And then there's also an alternative to my solar plan, and it is under the Obama administration. Myself and another individual, I started it. I guess we both get credit for coming up with the whole thing, but I started it. I said, hey, I want to get an array of mirrors. Have them in a concentric circle and just beam the sun's light into a single point. And I can't remember exactly what I was coming up with, but it was to collect energy of the light. And another guy just popped into my thread and said, hey, are you talking about putting like a boiler head there? And I was like, not exactly. But that would work, and hopefully this website that just banned me for life and stuff every time, who knows why. Probably because they work with the oil companies, the CIA, or they're just stupid, like most other people. And that's how I feel. But what you could do is that can't cost that much money to produce mirrors. The mirrors themselves can't cost that much money. This wouldn't be anywhere near as much as solar panels. So this would make the idea cheaper if this power plant produces a lot of energy. And this would mean you could just dig yourself out of debt in the country in a matter of one presidency. If you tax religion and do everything I was talking about and bring the military home and put it at peace, and you're shaving billions, hundreds of billions maybe off the top of that budget, and all goes back into the nation and its economy, well, that's going toward eliminating our deficit. And you could do that in a short amount of time if you find the cheapest way to do everything. And this would be one, and this would be great if it works. Now, the Obama administration's federal scientist, this is who they were said to be, and this is who claimed it, and it was under his administration, conducted this test in a desert. I believe it was in Nevada or somewhere in California. It was on one of the two western states. It's been a while since there's an article online, so it really isn't that important whether I get the state right. The point is, they tested the power plant, and they claimed it was in a desert. And then they claimed that it killed 30,000 birds. So I want to know how long it takes to kill 30,000 birds with a death ray that doesn't even move. So the only thing that makes sense is they tested this, and these birds just flocked there from everywhere. It was just a bird magnet, and they were like, let's commit suicide, and they all burnt to death and died in the death ray. Plus, it's a desert. I could go out into the desert and spend, I don't know how, a year there and probably not be able to document 30,000 different birds. So if that worked, that's cheap. I mean, you built a boiler head. I'm thinking it's cheaper than solar. We could look at the cost. I don't know how much it costs, nor how much energy it was able to produce and output, because it was hidden. We just heard that 30,000 birds died. That's all I was told. I saw it in a news article, on TV. So if it produces a lot of energy, and of course then at a cheaper price than solar, you break it down per watt, per joule, per unit, etc., whatever you break it down toward, if it's cheaper, then we go with those. And it makes our cost of electricity cheaper too. So solar is always an alternative, and that's for the mountainous areas. Now, some of these forest fires, at least one, it means it's a potential to be another, and we have like natural gas line explosions. We have all this stuff going on. There aren't any solar panel explosions that I know of that are killing people and causing forest fires. So in the mountainous areas and in forest areas, heavily wooded or treed, we can go all solar. It protects us against forest fires. We don't even need the power lines out there. The only reason there'd be a power line going through a forest, and this power line should be then reinforced and heavily protected so that even if there was a spark, it can't spark out onto a tree. So for an interstate grid, you would want to run, and we already do, power lines. They have to get to another state, and sometimes you have to go through a forest. So those should be the only ones running interstate and through a forest. You might be able to just avoid forest altogether if you do that. Another way to achieve this is, now it depends on what you choose, what dimensions you want to go with. You can go a 10 by 10, 20 by 20, 30 by 30 mile square area of pre-cut fire lines, and you can just fill it in with, it can be depending on wind factors and how far a flame can jump, 100 feet or 200 feet of concrete. And that's all that would ever be able to burn down if it ever happened. If you couldn't get to it in time, well, that's it. So they're already getting paid overtime, double, triple, quadruple, whatever these forest firefighters are being paid. I go, well, we're already doing that. We're just paying them out the yin-yang, so just get them out there and get ahead of it and cut these fire lines and do that. The mass burn downs are prevented. It's over. And in the event that there ever is one again, that's all it can burn. So they'd be easier to stop if they do happen, and then if you couldn't get to it or couldn't contain it, that's all it would be able to burn. It can't jump. So, my ideas, as quirky as people might think I am, or a physical appearance schizophrenia, or sleep deprived and I stutter over a word, or I can't use a word that I used to know because my brain is just going haywire from the sleep deprivation and the terrorisms, which happens. I'm still able to pull things together and make sense, but if you don't have anything better, and this is just what people do, including presidents, because they get real pissed off at all the opposers, the opposition with no answer. And I have, every topic that comes up in the nation, especially if it's political or domestic and even international, I'm like, well, here's an option. Is anybody doing anything? Where is the president at? What is his answer for forest fires in California and across the nation? So I just keep coming up every topic they have. I go, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, and we can do that, and we can do this. And they go, well, do you have anything better? Because if you don't, just shut your trap. Where's your answer at? That's it. Just keep doing the same thing. Let hundreds of square miles of forest until we don't have any forest left. It just keeps burning down. And for people who don't understand the arboreology, climatology, the atmospheric impact, all those things together of not having forest, it's really important. It actually isn't hippie stuff where we just go hug a tree, which you probably need to do. They convert carbon into oxygen. Carbon heats up the atmosphere. It's very bad for the atmosphere and us, and really all life on the planet. So, well, and life in the forest. Well, all those die. Okay, well then you're just driving through a desert, burnt wasteland. Great. It's ugly to drive through, too. Like this, going through the mountains, what's this? Nothing but dirt. Everything burnt down 50 years ago, and we didn't know how to stop it. And it won't regrow or anything, and every time it does, it just keeps burning down again. Like eventually he just gives up. He doesn't have any nutrients left. It's all just crap. There's just bark and charred everything. It's like, well, I can't. Even though they say that's rich, but it's like it needs a little bit of something to continue to grow, and just keeps burning down. And it's hot and dry. It's never coming back then. And by the time it does, even if it did, it's like, well, we did it. It's going to take 30, 40, 50 years for these trees to grow as big as they were again and be able to convert as much carbon into oxygen as they were. So if you don't have a solution, shut your claptrap. It's like that the little kid stuff. Like, this is an A-B conversation. You can just see your way out. Okay? And I'm the A plus. So that's all I ask. I'm like, well, then somebody just come up with another solution. I'm not trying, and I guess I sound like I come off as a jerk. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just want, look, don't be the opposition, you idiot. Criticism is something different. Opposition is another thing. If you don't have an answer or a solution, get out. Shut the hell up. Leave. Quit your job. Are you working in government? Just stop. I'll do everything for everybody then. As far as coming up with answers, that's a lot of paperwork, but just stop trying to give ideas for the country. You're done. Just go sit down and do paperwork or look at laws and review things. You're not good at what you do. You're a congressman or woman. Just get in the House and the Senate. Just go into the congressional building. That's all you need to do. Okay, work on laws and just touch words in legislation. You don't run anything. You can't come up with ideas. And then there's all the little, peasant peon simpletons around here that follow me and work in the Stockton government. And they don't have any answers. In fact, they're like, we need to stick him with chemicals so that we can have eternal life and immortality. And now he's endowed with his everlasting civil liberties. But it required a civil arrest. I gave them eternal life and immortality. So I'm waiting for the substance and merit of something that somebody else says. And I like it. I accept it. I just can't find it. Where are the people at? Does anybody have a brain? Is there anybody here that's going to lead the country? And the answer is yes. So, remember, I'm not the opposition, and I am critical, so I exercise criticism. But I always welcome answers and solutions that make sense and are efficient. And when I don't hear anything coming out about certain topics, and then I have the answers and somebody says, well, that won't work, I go, well, tell me how or why it won't work. Tell me what's wrong with what I've put forth, and they can't find it. So they're all full of shit.